Sponsor an orphan, and you'll help support a vulnerable child to have the education they've always dreamed of, so they can build a brighter future. You'll be feeding a hungry stomach and a hungry mind with knowledge that will last them a lifetime. That's the power of an education. Sponsor an orphan now with Islamic Relief.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, everybody. This is Preacher Moss, the host of the SOS, a shout out show. Hope that you are having a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful Tuesday. Thank you so much for some of the comments we got on yesterday's show about witnessing the death of the truth. Of course, we might have to revisit that topic. It was a very full topic. We actually went over the time we're supposed to go over. I admit it. I am truthful. But I think, it ties into our comments and what we're going to talk about today, which is, remember when we live by codes. Now, when I say codes, you have all kind of codes. You got man codes, you got marriage codes, you got your brother code, you got family code. And the logic that is attached to each and every one of them is always a separate logic. There is some type of narrative that follows true to why we do these things we do. Now, let me say, as an African-American and African-American Muslim, a large percentage of our life is framed by codes. Put a pin in that one. I say a large percent of our life is framed by codes. Largely, codes come as a part of outlaw culture. That you have to have some type of outlying understanding, outlying, not even ritual, outlying logic that helps you, in many regards, navigate the world that's in front of you. Because there's something in the world that's in front of you that's not on balance, or it's not truly representative of what you believe or what's being portrayed to you as the truth or equal or justice or things like that. I am a person who still, at my age, still operate by certain codes. And when I say certain codes, there's certain things, simple things. When the elder is talking, I'm not trying to talk over the elder. I don't do that. If I see a sister going to the door, yes, you open the door and you wait for the sister to come through. And you wait. Codes. Chew your food with your mouth closed. Codes. When you are dealing with people who are doing you a favor, you do not make it that they owe you something or something's obligatory for them to do the favor for you. Do you understand what I'm saying? Meaning that if it's from the wellness and the good spiritedness of somebody's heart, it's not for you to figure out a way to craft it to make it something yours. That's being selfish. That's being self-centered. Largely. Also, when someone is hungry, when someone is suffering, code. You don't make them to the point where they have to manifest it to you in a public way. The idea of giving charity is not the idea that you call all your friends around and say that so-and-so is broke and throw $1 at them. No, it is the idea that they are even more so entitled to justice, to decency because of their situation, that we should be more understanding, more caring, more compassion. These are codes that I'm going to talk about today. And I'm talking about them because they are, in many regards, a lost art form. The present political and geosocial conditions that we deal with don't allow for codes. What it allows for is a generation, if you will, generation upon generation of people who have accepted a particular type of logic, and the codes don't apply. And why the codes don't apply is you don't have enough people who are applying the codes. When we don't teach our children about these things, we don't educate them about the meritocracy of some of these codes. What you have is a society that is very unbalanced, but perpendicular. It's unbalanced, but it is stratified. So the logic never hits. And it also is the fact that people don't ask the good questions anymore. Why do we do such and such? Why is this important? We're not asking or engaging some of our children in the idea that you must investigate why you're doing this. You must come up with your own value system of why you hold the door for your elders, why you make it easy on your parents. These things are very, very important. And we're going to be talking about them here on the ShOUT Show. Thank you for joining, and We'll be right back. Before we get started, there's a false rumor out there. Tony Dow from Leave It to Beaver is not dead at the age of 77. He is still living. Wally still lives. Not that I picture a bunch of people making the Y for him, but he's still living. I don't know why they do these fake death announcements. It's kind of ridiculous, it's funny. So let me get past that. It's just a weird thing that I saw. I just want to put that out there. In case there are some Muslims that watch Leave It to Beaver. Okay, so let me move forward. Let me introduce the proponents, if you will, of the ShOUT Show family, the ShOUT Show soldiers. Already in the queue, let's get them up. What is a ShOUT Show without Sister Ree? What's going on, Sister Ree? I know you are feeling better. I hope you're feeling better. Peace and blessings to you and your family. As always, peace and blessings to Derek and Brother Jawan. Next up, Mr. 6 o'clock Altaf Rashid. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, dear brother. Thank you so much for coming in and joining us here on the ShOUT Show. What is the ShOUT Show without its Canadian envoy to the show? It's not international. There you go. Next up, Brother Eric Carter. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, man. I hope that you are staying cool wherever you are, my brother. Thank you so much for joining us on the show. And as always, we appreciate you. I didn't even call you Eric today. I just called you Eric, man. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Next up, my little brother, better known as JT, but the government name is Johnny L. Thomas. Thank you so much for coming on the show. You might enjoy this show talking about codes, man. And I'm going to talk about what codes meant to some of our elders. And I think it's an interesting point that I'm going to try and share with you because it was shared to me. I went through some of my notes and I remember talking about these. And part of it was a little conversation I had with Mr. Dick Gregory, man. I'll be pleased with him. Next up, Bilal Salahuddin, are you with your queen, brother? You just soloing it today, brother. I don't know, man. You 2 days without Sister Sonia. You make me think you sleeping on the couch, boy. You might be sleeping in the garage, Bilal. All right, man. Well, I appreciate you as always coming on. Shout out, man, and peace and blessings to you. Oh yeah, that's right. Sister Satana has graciously joined us today. Oh, that's right. It's Tuesday. No, I'm just kidding. Peace and blessings to our sister. May Allah bless you and continue to give you success in your Arabic classes. You know what? This one's for you. Ayn. I've been working on that all week. Ayn. There you go. That's my one. Ayn. That's my one letter, boy. There you go. There you go. I'm doing my Arabic, everybody. There you go, everybody. Yeah. Gene, there you go, boy. I'm killing it today. I am killing it today on the game. All right. Thank you so much, Sister Tyler. Thank you for joining us and being behind the production board. We appreciate you as always. This idea of codes. At my age, I realized that I live by codes. Now, we're not talking fire codes or anything like that. I'm talking about moral and social DNA that has been constructed in my community that is an outlier of a lot of the legal jurisprudence that you see. And I used to ask the question, why is it an outlier of the jurisprudence? It's because for myself and definitely those that came before me, my father, my grandfather, they had to establish living DNA for themselves. When I say living DNA, I mean these are the things that allowed you to flourish as a community. If you go back and look at times before the 60s, because you had Jim Crow, because you had segregation, you did not have formative law that supported your human excellence. You didn't have formative law that supported the fact that you were a human being, that you had value. That in that time, the 40s, 50s, and earlier than that, what you had was a society that was hell bent making sure that you were not going to be your best self. So, what makes the whole idea of codes interesting? What makes the idea of codes interesting is that people constructed social and moral DNA that allowed for them to have, I want to say, temporal awareness about what they were doing as a community, not in the world. Not in the world. Okay. I'm not talking about the United States as a whole back in the 40s and the 50s or the international scene. I'm talking about they had presence in their own lives. This is what made neighborhoods special. There were things that were agreed upon principles in the neighborhood that the jurisprudence didn't even recognize. Things like, and I can remember this from being a young man, there were things you didn't do when you were a kid. Like you didn't eat at other people's houses without your mother's permission. Let me say it again. You did not eat at other people's houses without your parents' permission. And oftentimes, even if you were invited to eat, you would turn down the invitation if you knew your mother was cooking, if you knew your father was cooking. Why? Because at some point in time, one, you didn't waste food. Wasn't nobody living like the Jeffersons or the Rockefellers back in the day. A steak had to last for a couple of days. Beans in a pot had to last a couple of days. I'm gonna freak y'all out. I'm gonna freak out. It's time to put your fingers in your ears. Them ham hocks and them butter beans were meant to be eaten. You had to eat the ham hock that was put in your bowl with the butter bean. You even if you lifted on your fork, that ham hock was yours. And that ham hock was not leaving unless it was inside you. The stuff of the law. But my point was, the code was, if mommy and daddy bought it, they prepared it, the doggone it, you ate it. What was the other code? Whatever your parents ate, you ate. Let me say it again. Whatever your parents ate, you ate. It was not a, what I want to say. It wasn't a Denny's. It wasn't, a hot shop or anything like that. No. What the family ate is what the parents ate. And you better be on your P's and Q's because you might not get a whole lot of food. If daddy came home and he was hungry, he was the one that ate the most food. Why? Because he worked the most. Same thing with mom. The whole idea, even at Thanksgiving, speak on it. There was a grown folks table and there was a kids table. Grown folks table, kids table. But let me say this. As a man, I've had to sit at the kids' table because the grown folks' table has an age limit on it. And I'm not afraid to tell you as a man that at 20 years old, I sat with 6-year-olds and had macaroni and cheese. And I enjoyed it. And I asked for more. And when you ask for more food, you ain't put the food out in one. Here's the code. You didn't put the food out in one hand. You held it like that. I still do that. Stana, don't you laugh at me. Don't you laugh at me. Now, that's the funny part. The codes are funny. In church, you didn't say a whole lot. When people couldn't sing, you clapped for them anyway. When people fell out, you did not laugh. Holy Jesus, bam, you did not laugh. You said, boy, the Holy Ghost got a hold of them. It might have been that muscatel from the night before, but we ain't talking about people's situation. When the reverend had a bad sermon, we had to treat it like it was the best sermon in the world. When they had the circle prayer to get out of there, you could not check your watch. When a lady was up there praying for 14, 15 minutes, couldn't check your watch. It was a code. It's respect. Now, why am I saying this? When it became time for me to become Muslim, one of the things I recognized in this religion, just like people do in Christianity, but particularly as an African American, is I recognize in Islam, however you want to say it, there were codes. There was a chain of command for what people said regarding what Prophet Muhammad said, peace and blessings be upon him. That there was verification. There was strong verification, a strong hadith, a weak hadith, but it was not spoken in the void, meaning that the connective tissue, brothers and sisters, is amazing because when I become Muslim, I'm like, well, this is a lot. This has a lot to do with what I've been dealing with my whole life. I was talking to a friend of mine today, and we were talking about how people don't really deal with codes anymore. And he said, well, the problem is people don't even know the codes. People are not even aware what the codes are, and they make them up. Like there was a young man, may Allah be pleased, with a young comedian committed suicide. And one of the clips they keep running is him saying, old N words hate young N words. Did you hear what I'm saying? Old N words hate young N words. And I can't take him to task. He's returned to Allah. I can't take him to task because there's a cultural imperative there that's missing. And that cultural imperative is, which old Negroes did you talk to? Which ones did you talk to? Because the scope of what he's saying is that you're talking to a very, very limited pool of people. That we have an entire generation that's totally been built upon the fact that the older generation doesn't want the younger generation to go to what they went through. The problem is the younger generation oftentimes feels entitled to the point that they feel like they got there themselves. Thus, you have to understand why codes are important. Because we operate in a system that's not fair. And the codes are the constructive tissue that keep us together with the people who do understand fairness, who do understand equality. Sorry about that, folks. I forgot. But you understand what I'm saying. Let me give you an example. This happened to me one time. It happened to you, but this happened to me one time. I was working a job, and a friend of mine was not doing well, and he kept saying, hey man, can you help me out? Can you help me out? And he had some issues. He wasn't a great employee, but I was blessed to have a rapport with the guy that ran the company, actually ran the tour. I was blessed to get this person on the tour. Now, you would say, preach, is that the end of the story? Is that a period? It should be a period, brothers and sisters, that I helped them get on the tour. But it's not a period, it's a comma. That the person watched me working, and this is a person that did nothing to get on the tour. No relationships, no contract negotiations. They didn't want you, they didn't know you. That the person becomes infatuated with the fact that I was able to get in this situation. He's now in this situation, and now this individual is working. He's worried about how much money I'm making for the tour. Literally, he's worried about what's in my pocket. Irregardless, if I put $1 in your pocket as a result of this, you're $1 up. Why are you worried about what's in my pocket? Code. You don't count other people's money. You don't count other people's money. That's their money. Counting other people's money is like trying to count other people's blessings. Sitting back trying to figure out how so-and-so got that, and somehow you are dismissing the fact that you haven't been effective in this area. That person has been working, putting in time, putting in effort, making sacrifices. You make no sacrifices. You make no effort. It's handed to you on a platter, and all you can think of is, how can I be equal to that person, knowing I haven't done the work, knowing I haven't sacrificed, knowing I don't have a conversation, knowing I don't have the connection, knowing I shouldn't be here in the first place. And this person, if you will, turn around, look you right in the face and go, hey, everything. But I'm hearing from the person that runs the tour, your guy is out of order. Now, you're not only messing it up for you, you messing it up for me, and you messing it up for other people that are trying to come behind. Code. Code is you don't count other people's money. You don't count other people's blessings. Oftentimes I've done work and I've just been happy to have the work. A man said this is what I could do. Now you have two choices. If it's too low, you're not going to take it. But let's be honest. If it's the only thing that's offered, it doesn't matter if it's too low. You 9 times out of 10 are going to take it. If you have conflicting issues, someone over here offers you something and this is what's been offered, then you have a choice to make. Very close. This is delineating, these are lines of delineation. Do I take this or I take that? You're dealing with opportunity costs. When you have nothing in the tank, you're not dealing with opportunity costs. You're dealing with the fact that there's nothing there. And I'm amazed oftentimes in society, because I talk about codes, I'm amazed in society that the larger society, the white politicians, the white supremacists, whatever out there that claims to be a part of this majority, which is really a minority, but they claim to be part of that, they constantly overstep codes. Literally, I'm watching something on TV. I think it was on Instagram. No, it was on Instagram. I strolling. It's the time I was on Instagram. It was only for like a minute and a half, but I was on Instagram and it was from First 48. And I watched this dude who was in deep trouble with the detectives call the detectives into the interrogation room about a murder. This boy started snitching out his mama. His mama did it. Even the cop was like, wait a minute. You finna put this murder on your mama. Well, she said sometimes she don't remember doing things. When she do things, she could have shot him and she just don't remember. Like, oh my God. The ridiculousness. All right, so we're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to be talking about remember when we live by codes and why it's important. This is Preacher Moss. Hang in there. We'll be right back. Hey, babies. Welcome to Radio WCUC, Convenient Urgent Care, home of the smart patient. This is DJ What It Do. You know what time it is. It's the top of the hour, and the request lines are open. You know what you want to hear. I know what you want to hear. Operators are waiting.
I just got to hear, don't get the COVID.
Don't get the COVID. Put your mask back on. The Delta COVID, more contagious than before. Don't get the COVID. Go on and get the vaccine. You know that it can keep you safe, and your people living up in your space. Don't get the COVID. You need to wash your hands. The Delta COVID is more deadly than before. Don't get the COVID. Go on and get your vaccine. You know that it can keep you from dying. Don't leave your family all alone and crying. Don't get the COVID.
We invite you to join our fight against COVID and against misinformation. It's time to listen to the doctors and trust the science.
When I think of people dying that don't have to die, it makes me sad. Now's the time to be sober. Together we can make this thing over. Let's fight the COVID. Convenient urgent care, home of the smart patient.
All right, we're back. Shout out to Convenient Urgent Care. We're going to need you, man. This BA5, this new COVID is, whoo, it is ripping through California, it's ripping through Texas, it's ripping through DC. So everybody, please, don't go out here acting like COVID has gone away. COVID is like, COVID making comebacks. Like drunk fighters, COVID makes comebacks. So I want everybody to please do the things. Wash your hands. We got that. We have COVID. We got monkeypox. That's my thing for monkeypox. We have monkeypox. I'm like, what else can happen? Yeah, I'm waiting for a volcano to just blast up in the middle of California. Like, the world is just a really goofy place. So let me give a little bit before we get to the wrap of the show about why I'm bringing up codes. Codes kept people alive. Codes kept people alive. Codes kept people civil towards one another when the world was not civil towards them. Codes about eating, codes about church, codes about speaking, you know, they sound very old school, but they were vital. They were vital. And when I say vital, I mean vital, vital, because we did not understand the depths with which we were trying to seek freedom and justice and all those things. And if you can have one thing that gives you this cohesiveness, it's the fact that people believe not only that they were valuable, but they were important to their surroundings. Even the surroundings that didn't want you, they were still important to all the surroundings. And I think, and I used to say this to my students. And what I say to my students is like, you know, respect is a mirror that you never see. I said, respect is the mirror that you never see. Because you're never going to see yourself being respected. It's your environment that's going to engage you, if you will. And it's going to give you these little signals from the universe that you're okay. These little things from the beyond that says that you're on the right path. And the blessing is being able to connect with people. You know, think about our codes. You know, some people call them rituals and things like that. We can debate that later. My thing is, the codes, particularly in my community when I was growing up, were vital. The whole idea of pull your pants up. It was not about sagging. It was about the fact that the world already thought poorly of you. So it was incumbent upon you to look your best. The idea of a suit. Someone asked me, why do you wear a suit to the comedy show? Why you wear a suit? Suit makes you look old. I said, suit makes me look like a man. A suit lets people know that I'm here for business. What's the code of wearing a suit? It's clean. Your pants are pressed. Your shirt is ironed. You might have cufflinks. You might have a bow tie. You might have a tie. You walk up on stage because you're representing everybody else who invested in you. All these codes that we're talking about lead us, if you will, to a very, very successful existence. Even when we're dealing with challenges, we're still a very successful existence. You know, some people bellyache about what's going on here right now, and I understand the Trump and all of that, but you're dealing with a modality that does not have any codes. Right? So if you can, find an elder. Let them talk to you about how they grew up. And what you're going to draw from that conversation 9 times out of 10 is that they dealt with codes. How children were raised, you're going to deal with codes. The codes are important because they protected the children when they left the house. These are things that you should know. You know, so I miss codes. Let me say that. I miss codes. And as you get older and older, you will miss codes because the people that practice the codes, they're thinning. They're not as plentiful as they used to be. And so you find yourself facing things that you know in your heart of hearts, in your codes, that don't fit. TV shows. They have TV shows about young girls who are pregnant. Let me tell y'all something about codes back in the day. First of all, back in the day, if you got a girl pregnant, particularly down in the South, what would happen is her father would pack up all her stuff. My dad would tell you, pack up all her stuff, and the father would march her down to the boy that got her pregnant with his rifle, throw her bag up on the porch, throw her up on the porch and say, hey, you want to do man things? Now you're man. You got to be man, take care of the girl. Other codes. When that one's impossible, to ensure the wellness of that woman and that baby that was on the way, they didn't let her stick around town to be stigmatized. They sent her off with an aunt, and that aunt would model for her what it was to be a parent. And we've lost that. And then just talking about the love and dedication and the welfare. We had a general interest in positive welfare of our children and really our future. But now you turn on the MTV and it's teenage mothers in the house. I know the wrap up's the time. I'm sorry. I just got caught on one. You're 100% correct. I'll leave it at this. Please shout out to the old school. Shout out to the codes. They mean something. All right, everybody. Take care of yourself. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.